Welcome back. In this video, I'll discuss games with the most incredible graphics that have been released in recent years. But first, here are the winners of the previous giveaway. I'll message you after this video goes live. At the end of the video, I'll reveal which games will be featured in the next giveaway. I'll start with S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. The latest entry in this Ukrainian game series offers an incredible atmosphere that perfectly captures the haunting beauty and dangers of the exclusion zone. The vast open world spans over 60 square kilometers, filled with abandoned buildings, warring factions, anomalies, and mutants. Weapon mechanics are designed with realism in mind, from slow reloading to the chance of jamming at the worst possible moments. Traversing between mission points requires thorough exploration, where valuable artifacts can be discovered to unlock new opportunities. The gameplay focuses on interacting with a dynamic world where events, such as faction clashes or mutant attacks, unfold under their own rules. Randomized elements, like mutant raids on outposts or enemies falling prey to anomalies, add unpredictability, making each playthrough unique. These elements combine to create a sense of adventure unlike any other. Dragon Age: The Veilguard. This marks a fresh step for BioWare, showcasing a return to their signature combination of deep character development and rich gameplay. Central to the experience is active combat, where your hero can adopt a battlemage playstyle, blending close-range attacks with powerful spells. Boss fights, particularly against dragons, demand strategy and quick reflexes, resulting in dynamic and tense encounters. Customization options allow players to adjust nearly every aspect of combat difficulty, making Veilguard an accessible and adaptable RPG for all skill levels. Companions remain a key feature of the game, each with unique backstories revealed through side quests reminiscent of loyalty missions from Mass Effect 2. These storylines are filled with drama and twists, turning secondary characters into stars of the narrative. Vibrant locations, from the mystical forests of Arlethan to shadowy ruins, enhance the atmospheric experience. The branching plot ensures high replayability, as every choice can lead to different outcomes. Silent Hill 2. This fully reimagined version of the iconic 2001 game significantly enhances and deepens the gameplay. The camera now stays over the protagonist's shoulder, making combat more dynamic and immersive. The game emphasizes tension and atmosphere. Narrow corridors, dim lighting, and dense fog make every encounter with enemies surprising and terrifying. The game is longer than the original, thanks to expanded locations and tasks. New puzzles require more thorough exploration and interaction with the environment. The immersion is enhanced by updated visuals powered by Unreal Engine 5 and an evocative sound design. Overall, this is more than just a remake. It's a comprehensive reimagining, ideal for both longtime fans and newcomers to the series. Dragon's Dogma 2. It's the sequel to the popular fantasy RPG where players become chosen heroes, fighting the darkness in the world of Granzes. One of the key elements of the game is the combat mechanics system, which allows players to create their own companions and use various combat techniques to defeat enemies. Players can explore the open world, battle mythical creatures, and solve puzzles. The game offers a variety of locations to explore, including mountains, forests, dungeons, and wastelands. The world is full of secrets, quests, and dynamic events that maintain the atmosphere of adventure. Horizon Forbidden West is the sequel to the hit from Guerrilla Games, where players delve into a unique post-apocalyptic world populated by technological machines and wild nature. The main protagonist, Aloy, explores new territories, facing dangerous enemies and uncovering secrets of the past. Players can utilize various weapons and agility to defeat machines and other adversaries. Additionally, the game offers extensive opportunities to explore the open world, including underwater locations and vertical climbs. The world is full of picturesque landscapes, from ruined cities to wild nature, offering players a rich and diverse world to explore. HITMAN World of Assassination. is a compilation of games from the Hitman series, including all episodes of the first and second parts, as well as additional content. Players once again take on the role of Agent 47, completing assassination contracts worldwide. Hitman gameplay offers freedom in approaching mission objectives, allowing players to choose from a variety of methods and tools to achieve their goals. While the levels in Hitman are not traditional open worlds, each location offers extensive space with numerous paths and opportunities for exploration and contract execution. Cyberpunk 2077 is an RPG that transports us to the cyberpunk metropolis of Night City in the future, where technology and crime intertwine. The game features a large and beautiful open world filled with diverse missions, characters, and opportunities. Players can choose their playstyle, whether it's stealth infiltration, combat actions, or the use of technology. Night City is a huge, meticulously crafted world where players can explore various districts, from bustling streets to dark alleyways, and uncover the secrets of this technological metropolis. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, in my opinion, is one of the best games in the Assassin series in recent years. The game takes us to the era of Vikings, where we play as Eivor, who becomes the leader of a clan trying to establish its settlement in England. Here, we have access to a vast world of medieval England, which we can freely explore, fight enemies, engage in diplomatic negotiations, and develop our settlement. The hero can use unique Viking skills and weapons, raiding on longships to get rich and uncovering mystical secrets. England in Assassin's Creed Valhalla is an extensive area, full of cities, villages, forests, and coasts for players to explore and conquer. Mafia Definitive Edition is a complete remake of the original Mafia, a classic game about the Italian Mafia in the 1930s. We will follow the tragic fate of Tommy Angelo, a new member of the Mafia family, through the open world of Lost Heaven, where they engage in criminal operations and shootouts. Lost Heaven is an authentic American city of the 1930s. From the bustling streets of Little Italy to the dark docks of the waterfront, every inch of the open world is infused with authenticity and detail. Thanks to its gripping plot and captivating setting, Definitive Edition is a great homage to classic gangster cinema. Dying Light 2: Stay Human is the sequel to the zombie parkour game from Techland, where players explore a world after the apocalypse filled with dangerous zombies and bandits. Here, players can freely navigate the open world, use parkour to explore the environment, and fight enemies. They can also make decisions that impact the storyline and the world around them. The world of Dying Light 2 is a gigantic city divided into various districts, each with its unique atmosphere and problems that players can explore and solve. Elden Ring is the long-awaited game from Software, the developers of Dark Souls, co-created with George R.R. Martin. It's a fantasy RPG set in an open world of darkness and mystique. The game takes place in the fractured lands of the Lands Between, where players will travel through vast open landscapes populated by terrifying creatures and mysterious enemies. The open world encourages exploration and discoveries, and hidden secrets and trials await those who dare to stray from the beaten path. The world is interesting to explore. Everywhere you can come across caves and various structures. Especially fun to roam at night, encountering minor bosses, interesting enemies, good loot, and it doesn't get boring. Then you enter a large castle, and a classic Dark Souls experience begins with multi-level locations, mob attacks from around the corner, and so on. Far Cry 6. This time, the game is set in the fictional country of Yara, where the local dictator is forced to defend his power from the onslaught of rebels. Players fight against the regime using a wide arsenal of weapons and tactics, and can recruit allies and use various approaches to complete missions. The world in Far Cry 6 is a huge, colorful tropical island, full of diverse landscapes, secrets, and dangers that players can explore. Players can create their own weapons, train pets, and ride vehicles. With its dynamic gameplay and vibrant setting, Far Cry 6 offers an exhilarating open-world experience. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales is an adventure game from Insomniac Games, a continuation of the story of Spider-Man, but with a focus on Miles Morales. Players control the new character, using his unique abilities to fight crime and protect New York. They can travel around the city, complete missions, and improve skills. As they progress, we will encounter iconic Marvel characters and fight various villains. New York in the game is presented as a huge open world where players can freely move around the city, explore its surroundings, and complete various tasks. Outcast: A New Beginning is a remake of the classic 1999 game Outcast, where players embark on an adventure to an alien planet. Get ready for an adventure in a vast open world full of dangers and opportunities. With the help of a jetpack, you can cover huge distances, exploring the most remote corners of the planet. Engage in battle with invading robots, using your combat skills and advanced weapons. The game offers complete freedom of action. You can go through the non-linear story at your own pace, choosing tasks and locations in any order. To save the planet, you will need to immerse yourself in the local culture, learning its traditions and customs. By helping the local residents liberate their villages, you will earn their trust and respect. But the most valuable ally in your struggle will be ancient artifacts and technologies capable of subduing the forces of nature itself. Mastering this knowledge, you can unleash the furious wrath of the elements on the invaders. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is an adventure-action game that continues the story of Cal Kestis 5 years after the events of Fallen Order. Cal has become a powerful Jedi Knight and now leads a desperate struggle against the Empire. He must decide how far he is willing to go to save his loved ones. In the game, you will be able to explore new and familiar planets in the Star Wars galaxy, where unique biomes, challenges, and enemies await you. You will also need to master new skills, equipment, and abilities that will help you in your journey and during battles. Nobody Wants to Die is an atmospheric, sci-fi detective game with elements of cyberpunk and neon noir. The main character, a detective, investigates a complex case, facing various choices that influence the story's progression. The game offers 4 different endings. A distinctive feature of the game is its interesting dialogue mechanics, where some lines are unlocked only after fulfilling certain conditions. During the gameplay, the player can use a special device that allows time manipulation. With its help, you can reconstruct the chain of events and uncover the truth about various incidents. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, a dynamic action game from the creators of Ashen, telling the story of the conflict between the Alliance armies and ancient gods. Players take on the role of a warrior and, along with a magical creature, embark on an exciting open-world adventure. Gameplay-wise, it is a Souls-like game, but here you can choose the difficulty level. The plot is intriguing, especially the revelation of the true nature of your companion. The graphics are pleasing to the eye, though the appearance of characters in the inventory leaves much to be desired. The game has some technical flaws, but they do not hinder the enjoyment of the gameplay. Completing the game, including exploring every corner of the map, takes about 25 hours, and only the final boss presents a real challenge. Fort Solis. This atmospheric thriller set on Mars combines cinematic storytelling with gripping exploration. The game drew attention with its stunning visual design and detailed environment on the Unreal Engine 5. The game's visuals are one of its highlights. Realistic textures, lighting, and animation create the feeling that the Martian outpost Fort Solis is truly inhabited. The sound design is also well-crafted, with impressive moments enhanced by carefully chosen music and environmental effects. However, the impressive graphics require significant performance, and even players with modern GPUs might encounter issues. The game itself focuses on exploration and narrative. Players gradually uncover the mysteries of the outpost through video recordings, documents, and environmental storytelling. Visions of Mana. This is a colorful Japanese RPG with an anime style, a large semi-open world, various playable characters, and real-time battles. The game's story follows a hero who, along with his childhood friend, sets off on a journey to the sacred tree that controls all mana in the world. The new installment brings the series into the modern era, combining excellent combat mechanics and a class system with new characters, each with their unique arc. The battles are dynamic and strategic, featuring the class strike system that allows for powerful attacks. The class swapping adds variety. Star Wars Outlaws. I think everyone has already heard about this new game from Ubisoft. The game is distinguished by its rich story, engaging character dynamics, and visually stunning environments. Kay, accompanied by her charming alien companion Nyx, embarks on an exciting adventure across multiple planets, from the deserts of Tatooine to the lush jungles of Akiva. The narrative unfolds with twists typical of classic Star Wars heist stories, with betrayals and alliances with various criminal syndicates. The game will delight with its adventure atmosphere, well-crafted world, and engaging mechanics. It offers varied gameplay, combining shooting, stealth, and exploration. The heroine's reputation among the cartels plays an important role, influencing interactions with the world, although the main story is not dependent on it. Black Myth: Wukong. This is undoubtedly the best release of the year so far. An action-adventure slasher featuring the Monkey King as the main character. The game focuses on dynamic combat and the use of various combos. Additionally, there are boss battles and different abilities. For example, the character can transform into a large monkey to deal increased damage to enemies. As the game progresses, you'll encounter diverse enemies, during which the hero can showcase his incredible combat skills, master numerous styles, and choose his combat strategy. In 2 weeks since its release, the game has garnered 500,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. RoboCop: Rogue City. This game takes us back to the 80s, embodying the iconic RoboCop. The developers have crafted a dark and detailed world that perfectly captures the aesthetic of the original films. It's a dynamic first-person shooter where players can feel like an invincible cyborg cop fighting crime in a decimated Detroit. The game stands out with its deep narrative, blending action and detective elements. Every player decision impacts the storyline, adding strategic depth. Visual effects and music complement the atmosphere, creating a cinematic experience. The Outer Worlds is a captivating RPG that channels the spirit of New Vegas into a vibrant, spacefaring adventure. Set in an alternate future where megacorporations colonize the galaxy, the game places you in the role of a revived colonist tasked with navigating a myriad of moral choices and complex character interactions. The world building is exceptional, featuring diverse planets teeming with colorful characters, satirical humor, and a retro-futuristic aesthetic. The game's narrative flexibility allows for a range of playstyles. Whether you prefer diplomacy, stealth, or outright combat, players can customize their character with various skills and perks, influencing combat effectiveness and interaction outcomes. Companions add depth to the story, each bringing unique abilities and personal quests. The game's open-ended structure encourages exploration and experimentation, with multiple endings shaped by your decisions. Metro Exodus is a captivating first-person shooter that combines survival horror elements with an expansive world. Unlike its predecessors, Metro Exodus introduces more open-world environments, offering players a variety of settings to explore, each meticulously crafted with vivid details and dynamic weather systems. The game balances combat and stealth, encouraging players to approach situations thoughtfully and manage scarce resources. The game excels in environmental storytelling and moral choice dynamics. Call of Duty: Black Ops Cold War. This game attempts to balance classic shooter elements with new experimental mechanics. Set during the Cold War, it creates a spy thriller atmosphere. The campaign is filled with cinematic shootouts, stealth, and diverse missions. Players can create their protagonist, affecting dialogues and story development. The inclusion of non-linear elements and side missions requiring careful evidence collection for optimal completion is impressive. Besides the single-player campaign, the game offers enhanced graphics, including ray tracing support and high frame rates. Resident Evil Village. This 8th installment of the iconic horror game series continues Ethan's story. The game returns to a first-person perspective, allowing players to explore dark locations, encounter various enemies, and solve puzzles. The first half emphasizes exploration and atmosphere, with standout characters like Lady Dimitrescu and her daughters. Despite its cinematic quality and tense atmosphere, Village faces criticism for a weak and illogical storyline and a lack of charismatic antagonists in the latter half. The shooter mechanics also receive mixed reviews, as enemies absorb bullets without a finishing move mechanic. While Ethan can block and parry, interesting enemies appear only in the second half. Rage 2 is a fast-paced open-world shooter combining the frenetic combat of Doom with exploratory elements from Mad Max and Just Cause. The protagonist, a wasteland ranger, navigates a chaotic world filled with missions, upgrades, and unexpected events. The expansive open world is divided into 6 unique regions with different biomes. Players can explore the terrain, complete missions, and discover various points of interest. Gameplay stands out with super abilities and a wide array of weapons. The game features character, vehicle, and arsenal upgrades, delivering an action-packed experience with dark humor. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. One of the key exclusives for PlayStation 5 last year also appeared on PC. The game demonstrates the full power of the new console. Loading times take mere moments, and characters teleport between worlds in fractions of a second, and the ray-traced graphics look superb. As for the game's content, it's a familiar 3D platformer for the series in which Ratchet and Clank, along with a girl from an alternative universe who has joined them, try to fix the catastrophe caused by the main villain. It's a charming 8-hour adventure, full of jokes, shootouts, and spectacular events. Assassin's Creed Mirage. After the release of Assassin's Creed Origins, the fan community split into 2 camps. Those who didn't like the RPG elements were forced to watch as the franchise drifted away from its roots. However, in 2023, Assassin's Creed Mirage was released, bringing the series back to its origins. Yes, leveling up is still present, but it's not as deep as in previous games. The main emphasis is on stealth, and the storyline focuses on the Assassin Order, which pleased fans of the previous installments. Overall, the release was successful, but players have one complaint: the game is very short. This is because Basim's story was originally conceived as a large DLC for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Alan Wake 2. Once upon a time, Alan Wake became a cult game, and fans had been asking developers for a sequel for many years. The wait, lasting over a decade, was worth it. Alan Wake 2 is a horror game that immerses players into the mysterious world of the famous writer Alan Wake, who has disappeared in a creepy town. Authors offer gamers to play as an FBI agent named and as Alan himself. The protagonist's storylines will run parallel, allowing users to enjoy the story of each character. The plot keeps you on edge and won't let you relax until the very end. This adventure is sure to be memorable, as the game has received numerous enthusiastic reviews from players and critics alike, as well as a nomination for Game of the Year. A Plague Tale: Requiem. This is a sequel to the action game about a brother and sister pursued by a dreadful curse. We have to take control of the brother and sister to continue their journey to a safe place. However, during the journey, players will face various challenges. The game's features include an intriguing storyline, beautiful graphics, and a well-crafted medieval world. Developers have improved stealth mechanics, and interaction with light has become even more interesting. The game will undoubtedly appeal to fans of the first installment. Starfield. It was a dream game not only for Bethesda game fans but also for Todd Howard himself. The ambitions were high, but were the hopes fulfilled? Not entirely. Some fans were already prepared for mistakes and poor optimization reminiscent of the instability of Fallout 4 at launch. However, the problem is not what developers or mod creators can fix. Starfield received poor reviews due to its gameplay. There is too little space in this space game, and the hundreds of planets advertised are empty and monotonous. And the plot is not interesting. In the end, it's just a game of gigantic proportions with a drop of interesting content. We can only hope for user modifications and that the developers do not intend to abandon the game. Lords of the Fallen. This is a remake of the 2014 RPG with an expanded in-game world and gameplay. In short, it's not a bad Souls-like with beautiful graphics and atmospheric locations. There are also unique mechanics, such as the lantern mechanic. It allows you to view altered locations, search for secrets, or finish off a boss. There are no specific classes. You can mold the character into whatever you want. The combat mechanics themselves are interesting. Strikes and combos feel impactful, parrying is easy, and dodges work correctly. The plot is not as superficially presented as in Dark Souls, but in any case, for a full understanding, you'll have to read the descriptions of all items. The game offers good and bad endings, as well as a secret one that will require a lot of effort to unlock. Forspoken initially stumbles with a slow start and clunky pacing, but once it finds its stride, it becomes a captivating journey worth experiencing. Playing as Frey Holland, players are thrust into the fantastical realm of Athia, tasked with confronting the corrupted rulers known as the Tantas. Combat revolves around magical spells, offering satisfying depth and flexibility as players progress. Despite some control issues and divisive dialogue, Frey's character shines through with complexity and development. The game's exploration is energized by Frey's magical parkour, though side missions can sometimes feel like filler. While Forspoken may have its ups and downs, its robust character development, detailed world building, and stylish combat make it a worthwhile experience, even if it may not be universally recommended. Dead Island 2. Another game that almost succumbed to the perils of development limbo. Dead Island 2 fulfills the expectations set by its predecessor after 12 years of anticipation. Set in a post-apocalyptic California, the game follows your quest to reach Santa Monica while aiding survivors and uncovering the secrets behind a potential cure for the zombie infection. The game's core strength lies in its weapon system, offering a wide variety of melee and ranged options with customizable mods and perks to suit different playstyles. The addition of curveball items adds strategic depth to combat encounters, allowing for creative approaches to zombie slaying. Combat is further enhanced by the integration of Ability, Survivor, Slayer, and Newman skill cards, providing players with a range of tactical options and passive bonuses to tailor their character progression. While the game lacks drivable vehicles and features linear level design, it compensates with engaging side missions and challenging boss fights that incentivize character progression and strategic thinking. With 6 different Slayers to choose from and the option for co-op multiplayer, Dead Island 2 offers replayability and cooperative fun. Remnant 2 received its share of glory in 2023. The sequel turned out to be bigger, more diverse, and more beautiful than its predecessor. Gamers eagerly immersed themselves in this unique Souls-like game and were satisfied. Remnant 2 significantly expanded on the possibilities of the first game. The worlds became more diverse and expansive, new creatures and bosses appeared, and the combat became more dynamic and bloody. Additionally, new crafting options and rewards were introduced, and most importantly, the possibilities for character development were expanded. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. The long-awaited game set in the Avatar universe finally came out last year. Many skeptics initially reacted negatively to the project due to an unimpressive trailer that depicted the world of Pandora as, to put it mildly, strange and unattractive. However, the developers managed to surprise everyone. At the time of release, we saw a game with stunning graphics and atmosphere. Some of the community claimed that Frontiers of Pandora was just another game from the Far Cry series, but in a different setting. Essentially, this is true. The game carries all the shortcomings of Far Cry 6. This doesn't make the project awful, but be prepared to clear dozens of bases on another planet. The world is beautiful, but it felt empty to me. The developers added too much unnecessary running around, and you get the flying Ikran too late. Hogwarts Legacy is an enjoyable open-world action RPG set in the Harry Potter universe. The game unfolds approximately a century before the events depicted in the original series, offering players an opportunity to delve into the rich history of the renowned school of witchcraft and wizardry. Immersing players in a vast and dynamic world, Hogwarts Legacy unveils a narrative teeming with the profound history, mysteries, and secrets of Hogwarts and its surroundings. The game provides multiple avenues for exploration, enabling players to attend classes at their preferred school faculty, undergo tests, engage in magical battles with sorcerers and fantastical creatures, unravel riddles, unveil mysteries, discover references to both books and films, personalize the rescue room, and much more. Deathloop. This immersive sim requires us to thoroughly explore locations to gather various data, notes, and other information about what's happening and the key personalities involved. The story revolves around an intriguing concept. All residents of the Black Reef Island are caught in a time loop, and if you die, you start the day over. The main character attempts to break the loop to restore life to its normal rhythm, but many residents, especially the main antagonist, disagree. She clearly does not share the protagonist's worldview and repeatedly eliminates him. The storytelling approach is reminiscent of detective games where we need to piece together clues for a full understanding of what is happening. Kina, Bridge of Spirits. An adventure game with a storyline that follows a young spirit guide named Kina, who uses her magical abilities to help deceased people transition from the physical world to the spirit realm. She is aided by adorable creatures that joyfully assist the main protagonist. If you enjoy three-dimensional animation from Pixar and Disney, Kina is sure to captivate you at first glance. The developers, who have a background in creating commercials, showcase their experience in this enchanting tale. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. An excellent story-driven adventure featuring characters who may not resemble their comic book counterparts but are interesting in their own right compared to previous Avengers adaptations. Combat is limited here. Most of the gameplay involves following the story's development, occasionally choosing dialogues that can alter its direction. While these choices have minimal impact, it's pleasing to see some level of interactivity. Players can explore the spaceship and various locations, examining details similar to Life is Strange. With a plethora of locations, they don't become monotonous and the gameplay keeps evolving. From battling in open space to landing on planets or facing bosses, all accompanied by a cool soundtrack and the atmosphere of the Guardians. Scarlet Nexus is a role-playing action game with an anime-style aesthetic featuring a unique setting, stunning monster designs, and intense combat involving telekinesis and various psi abilities. The game unfolds in an alternative reality on Earth in the year 2020. 2,000 years ago, humanity teetered on the brink of extinction due to a monster invasion. Although the catastrophe was averted, monsters occasionally reappear on the planet. In defense of humanity, soldiers known as psionics, equipped with various extraordinary abilities, are summoned. Our protagonists are among these psionic soldiers, each with their own motives for joining the special task force. The game boasts a wide variety of abilities that are genuinely enjoyable to use. Each companion brings something unique to the table, and as their relationships are developed, their capabilities continue to grow. It's recommended to play the game twice, experiencing the story once for each protagonist, the male and female characters. While their paths may intersect, each follows their own journey, introducing new locations, allies, and answers to questions. The Invincible is a first-person science fiction thriller with elements of retrofuturism. The game is based on Stanislav Lem's cult novel, Invincible. The story unfolds in a retrofuturistic universe with analog yet advanced technologies. Players must locate missing crew members and survive on an inhospitable and mysterious planet filled with dark secrets and puzzles. Gameplay-wise, it is a walking simulator with a non-linear and highly engaging detective plot featuring thriller elements. This story will keep you glued to the screen until the very end. If you're a fan of science fiction and have enjoyed watching Interstellar multiple times, then playing this game is a must. While it may seem like a walking simulator in terms of gameplay, the atmosphere and plot create an incredibly immersive interactive experience. The Ascent an energetic isometric action RPG with 4-player cooperative gameplay. The game's world is a cyberpunk space filled with extraterrestrial beings. In the storyline, players assume the role of a mercenary working for a corporation that owns a massive structure, a skyscraper housing the population of an entire megacity numbering in the millions. Situated on a remote planet, the skyscraper becomes a sought-after destination for those seeking a better life. At a certain point, the corporation mysteriously goes bankrupt, sparking a conflict between outlaw groups and other corporations vying for control of the newly available real estate. And we find ourselves thrust into the very heart of this confrontation. Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden. A new action/RPG from the creators of Life is Strange and Vampire promises an ambitious story about Antia and Red, a pair of ghost hunters, one of whom becomes a ghost. Now the heroes must find a way to rectify the situation, but first they must exploit it by combining Antia's newfound spiritual powers and Red's deadly arsenal. And remember, every choice will have consequences. The First Descendant. A loot shooter on Unreal Engine 5 with single and cooperative missions, intense boss fights, and cutting-edge visuals. The game's action unfolds in a fantastical world, and players will have access to various characters with different combat styles. Alone in the Dark. This is a reimagining of the original game where players will visit a cursed mansion to confront horrifying nightmares. The title combines puzzles and battles, psychological horror, and third-person shooter elements with 2 active characters. The project's script is written by Michael Hedberg, the writer of horror games Soma and Amnesia. The development studio, Pieces Interactive, previously released expansions Ragnarok and Atlantis for Titan Quest. Manor Lords is a medieval city-building simulator with real-time strategy elements. Players have complete freedom in placing buildings and developing settlements, starting from a small camp. A crucial aspect of the game is the interconnectedness of elements. Producing bread requires completing all stages from growing wheat to baking. Resource and population management play a vital role. Players must monitor the spirituality, health, and needs of their settlers, providing them with food and materials. Winter requires stockpiling resources, and trade routes and relationships with neighbors impact development. The economy is complex but well thought out, requiring constant attention to production and trade. Hellblade 2. Senua embarks on an even more perilous journey, haunted by new enemies and inner demons. The game's visual aspect is top-notch, featuring detailed landscapes and eerie dungeons that immerse players in a harsh land filled with despair and fear. The dynamic day and night cycles, realistic weather effects, and impressive lighting breathe life into the world, making it both vibrant and terrifying. Senua continues to struggle with the voices in her head, now even more intense and unsettling, reflecting her deep internal torment. The combat system has been significantly enhanced, promising a richer and more strategic gameplay experience. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. We have long awaited the continuation of the Prince of Persia series since the release of The Forgotten Sands in 2010, and finally, our patience has been rewarded. However, this is not the familiar third-person action typical of recent franchise releases. Instead, it is a side-scrolling platformer reminiscent of the earliest entries in the series. The protagonist is a young man named Sargon, and the events of the game take place in the Prince of Persia universe, although it is not a direct prequel or sequel to previous projects. On his journey, the hero will encounter numerous enemies, traps, and puzzles. Overcoming challenges, he will discover remarkable abilities to manipulate time and space. The game is inspired by the Metroidvania genre. Players can freely explore the world, revisiting previously completed locations. By being curious, one can uncover many secrets, side quests, and collectible items. The combat system is based on acrobatics and swordplay. The hero is skilled with a sword, able to execute various attacks, dodges, and blocks. His unique temporal powers allow him to slow down the pace of battle, rewind events, or accelerate the ongoing action. The hero will also unlock special superpowers, providing an advantage in battles against enemies. Planet of Lana. A profoundly beautiful and touching story accompanied by incredible music. The plot is very simple and uncomplicated, perhaps the only drawback of the game. The entire gameplay is built on platforming actions and straightforward puzzles. The visual aspect deserves special attention, numerous beautiful locations that seamlessly transition and immerse players in their atmosphere, enhanced by superb musical accompaniment. In the narrative, years of conflict have disrupted the natural balance on the once idyllic planet, which was once a paradise for humans, flora, and fauna. However, this game is not about war, it's about preserving the planet's original beauty and scenic landscapes. Overall, it's a cozy and delightful adventure that relaxes and provides a plethora of pleasant emotions. Stray, an exciting adventure set in a post-apocalyptic world where humans have long become extinct. Our main hero, a cat miraculously surviving, finds itself in an underground city, discovering a settlement of robots that has been in isolation for a long time. The robots have their own interests, daily life, and a set of rules and laws, violation of which leads to consequences. However, our furry protagonist is not one to shy away, so together with a robot friend, they embark on a rebellious journey to unravel the mysteries of this place. The gameplay features a platformer with elements of action and quests. Players will travel through locations, solve straightforward puzzles, and optionally assist the city's inhabitants. The cat can interact with objects uniquely. Its sharp claws may be useful to break something, while its paws skillfully knock various objects from heights. The game also includes enemies, ensuring a few chase scenes. However, exploration remains a central aspect of the gameplay. The visual aspect is noteworthy. The developers have done an excellent job with lighting, shadows, reflections, and the overall visual style of the game. Witchfire. It is an exhilarating shooter with roguelike elements set in a medieval fantasy world during the 15th century. Players assume the role of a witch hunter tasked with annihilating all manner of supernatural entities, saving ordinary people from the forces of darkness, and exploring various zones. In this game, players face a diverse array of monsters using a wide arsenal of firearms and assorted gadgets. The game goes beyond simple shootouts, requiring players to make tactical decisions. Battles become less straightforward, demanding attention to stamina and diverse weapon usage. The weaponry in the game is diverse and unique, with each designed for specific tasks. Spells are also present, adding more room for tactical maneuvering, with the ability to combine them with weapons to create effective combinations. The game's objective is to defeat the main witch boss, yet reaching her is not easy due to various bosses and their minions scattered across different regions of the island. Players have the freedom to choose their path and difficulty level. Resident Evil 4 Remake. Originally released in 2005, Resident Evil 4 revolutionized the series and set the standard for third-person shooters. Now meet the remake of this iconic game, which has stirred emotions among fans. Based on the original, the remake offers updated graphics, redesigned character designs, and some gameplay innovations. The game follows Leon, a special agent whose task is to rescue the kidnapped daughter of the president taken by cultists. Followers of the cult, infected with the Las Plagas parasite, become dangerous enemies. In the remake, updated puzzles, stealth elements, and crafting add a modern touch to the game. However, changes to the shooting mechanics and levels have sparked debates among fans. The departure from some original elements and the move towards a more serious style have deprived the game of the spirit and sharpness of the original. Ashley, whom Leon rescues, has also undergone changes, transforming into a more combat-oriented character. Dead Space Remake. It is a science fiction survival horror and third-person shooter. This is a remake of the 2008 original, where players control engineer Isaac trying to survive on the gigantic spaceship Ishimura infested with necromorphs. The game preserves the eerie story while introducing unexpected and new aspects to the narrative. The gameplay remains intact. Players control Isaac, battling necromorphs and restoring power on the ship. Weapons have been updated and combat requires strategy as dismemberment has become more challenging. The protagonist can also use special equipment to manipulate objects and slow down time, useful in both combat and puzzle solving. Graphics and sound have been elevated to modern standards, adding new locations and updating dialogues. Isaac now actively communicates with comrades, revealing his emotions and adding depth to the characters. Secondary missions enrich the main story, and a system of random events makes the game even more terrifying. Overall, the Dead Space remake not only enhances the visual and gameplay aspects, but also offers an alternative ending, making the game engaging and relevant for a new generation of players. Days Gone, a sprawling narrative game about the survival of a charismatic biker in a zombie apocalypse. The protagonist travels through post-apocalyptic America on his motorcycle, aiding various groups of survivors and battling hordes of infected. The main draw of Days Gone lies in its atmosphere. Roaming deserted roads on a trusty iron steed proves incredibly engaging. The developers have endeavored to make the world as lifelike as possible. Weather constantly changes, NPCs behave differently depending on the time of day, and random events occur across the map which can either aid or hinder the hero. Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima released either a walking simulator masquerading as a blockbuster game, a philosophical statement on modern society, or an experiment that elevated social interactions in video games to a new level. One thing can be said for certain: you believe in this kind of post-apocalypse. A world where everyone has shut themselves away in bunkers and communication is reduced to online messaging too closely resembles the pandemic we experienced just a few years ago. At times, Death Stranding is downright infuriating and you might feel like quitting. But when you descend towards the setting sun from another hill to excellent music, or witness a massive whale in the sky, you forgive the game for everything. The Last of Us series. This is the most highly praised and beloved zombie apocalypse game by the audience to date. It's a cinematic narrative adventure telling the story of an experienced smuggler and a teenage girl who has only known the horrors of the pandemic while traveling through America. The narrative scenes of The Last of Us can easily bring players to tears. The developers placed emphasis on the characters, weaving the narrative, world, and mechanics around them, and they didn't miss the mark. It resulted in one of the deepest post-apocalyptic dramas in the history of video games. As you can see, a lot of great games have been released in recent years, and I hope you found something to play. In the next video, we'll be giving away 1 Steam key for the brand new RPG New Arc line, 2 keys for the action RPG Steel Rising, and 2 keys for the new strategy game Warhammer Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin. To participate, just subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment. The Image Game channel was with you. Have a nice day.
Just wanna pack up my things and go. Just wanna be free, just wanna zone. Just wanna flow, just wanna hang with the gang, but sometimes chill on my own. Just wanna do me, just wanna doze. Just wanna live and see how it goes. And the goals just keep on going, yeah. This life we live is a war. When there's love in the rave, you know. When there's love in the rave, you know.